and you look for if the queen is doing her job, so to speak. So you always want to see an evolution of eggs, larvae, and adult bees, and that constantly evolves. So you're watching for the process to continue how it's supposed to look, and then you look out for environmental factors. Do you see other bugs in the hive? Do you see missing eggs? There's no eggs lately. That's a warning sign the queen has left or is not doing the work anymore. So you kind of watch for what's not happening or somebody invading the territory.
What advice would I like to give to others that might want to be a school counselor like me, or just a school counselor in general? Go for it, because helping others helps you. If you enjoy helping others, then this is the greatest path to take.
Right now, I would, depending on the day, rate the school spirit at like a 6, sometimes a 7. It really depends on the event. People get excited about different things. I think we're doing a really good job so far. We just had a really awesome event at the away game at Colonial Forge where we had a really big student section. They cheered the whole game. We could hear them from the home side over the home crowd. So that was like a 9.
I'm Diego Munoz.
I'm Athiana LaRose.
I'm Kasim Wilhite.
I'm Wes DeLeon.
I'm Ethan Atkins. These are the stories tonight on 20 Minutes. Good evening. I'm Ethan Atkins, and you're watching North Stafford's Stories on 20 Minutes. Here's today's following topics: the fundamentals of beekeeping, North Stafford's rabid case of orange fever, and the importance of guidance counseling. We start with Athiana covering beekeeping with our own Vice Principal, Mr. Neal. Interesting products from the bees themselves, like wax and honey, will be shown as well. Going through this, we'll discover how bees are dealt with, managed, cared for, and how Mr. Neal gets himself out of sticky situations when attending them.
Today, we learned the aspects of beekeeping from our very own Vice Principal, who has been active in schools for 18 years and uses his passion for building relationships to promote academic success. Mr. Neal informs us now on how he turns his hobby into honey.
So I've always been big into pets, animals, and my family moved to 3 acres back in the woods, and so we started looking at what we could do to kind of live off the land a little bit. We started off small, so to speak, with chickens, and that went well, and we learned about a program through the Department of Agriculture where you can get beehives for free because they're trying to boost up the number of honeybees in the country. And so we applied for the lottery system, and we got 3 free hives, and that's how we started.
Starting with extra space, free hives, and zero experience, Mr. Neal and his family were able to learn how to take care for and maintain the bees for so far 3 years.
So the day-to-day is actually fairly low. We try to be as natural as possible in our process, and so you try not to disturb the hive. You let them live like they do in nature in their box. So it's more about a weekly or bi-weekly checkup. It depends on the season, and you look for if the queen is doing her job, so to speak. So you always want to see an evolution of eggs, larvae, and adult bees, and that constantly evolves. So you're watching for the process to continue how it's supposed to look, and then you look out for environmental factors. Do you see other bugs in the hive? Do you see missing eggs? There's no eggs lately. That's a warning sign the queen has left or is not doing the work anymore. So you kind of watch for what's not happening or somebody invading the territory.
Other than the problems that may be faced when checking the bees, there are many external factors that can also harm them, including the weather.
Virginia, we have these up and down temperature swings, and that makes it hard to overwinter the bees. This is my 3rd year keeping bees, and we have lost bees every winter. The temperature will get warm during the day, up in the 50s, 60s. They see the sun, they go out, and they break their cluster. During the winter, they kind of hibernate like many animals, and they cluster around the queen and keep their warmth by staying together. So if it gets warm outside and they break the cluster, now they get cold and they don't build that heat back up before it gets to be 30 degrees overnight, and they can die. The other issue in Virginia is the hot and cold back and forth creates moisture, humidity. And if that moisture gathers in the hive and drips on the bees, they get wet and cold and they'll die. So that's the biggest challenge I've faced.
Despite the challenges that come with beekeeping, there are many rewarding factors to this hobby, including the products that can be made, especially my favorite, honey.
It's kind of twofold for me. One is that living off the land mentality, that I get a product in return for keeping them, as we get to harvest the honey and the wax from them. And so that's a big return for us. And then two is giving back to nature, the aspect of there's a shortage of honeybees and the positive they do for pollinating crops and keeping our environment functioning. So that's the other part, is kind of knowing that I'm giving back and doing something to help keep our environment stable.
In 2025, honeybee colonies are expected to face up to 70% of losses impacting agriculture and our summer food supply, as reported by many researchers and news stations in early March this year.
But that is why the Department of Agriculture is giving away free hives every year and bolstering it up, because they want the bee colonies to be stronger to help pollinate and keep crops growing.
The bee population is slowly declining, affecting our crops and plant growth. If you would like to help build this community like Mr. Neal, visit the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Sciences website if you'd like to also take part in this sweet journey. This is Anna LaRose reporting from North Stafford High School.
What an amazing presentation. That sure kept me stuck to the story. With Mr. Neal's extensive knowledge and care about bees, I'm sure you'll never go wrong. This information is crucial to helping the already declining bee population in the U.S., so hopefully they will remain stable. Looking deeper into what it's like being a school counselor and the dedication it takes to become one, Kasim and Ms. Packwood take a dive and explore what it's like to be in her shoes, covering things such as responsibilities, her duties among students, and how she helps them overcome their mentals.
School guidance counselor is no easy feat, which is why I went to interview our star counselor, Ms. Packwood, at North Stafford High School. Before we begin, please note that to protect privacy, any image where you see a student's face has been digitally created using the Sora AI video generator. No actual students were filmed or shown where their faces appear.
I chose to become a school counselor because when I was working on my marriage and family therapy master's, I had a lot of high school students come in to my sessions, and they complained about not having anybody in the school to come and talk to. So therefore I finished out my degree program, and then I decided to go for a school counseling degree so I could come into the school and be readily accessible for them.
Ms. Packwood says that kids complain about not having people to help them in school. So let's find out how she works with teachers, parents, and administration to help improve students' learning experience.
I collaborate with a lot of people. With teachers, I collaborate on how to best help students to attain the knowledge that they need, to help them achieve success in their classes, because a lot of students struggle sometimes, and I like to help them develop study plans. I like to help them with time management. And also, there are some times where students have a hard time with the class, not because of the material, but because of stuff that's happening outside of school. And so I like to be able to help them with that. With administration, I collaborate with them on the best way to help a student or their family to adjust to the school environment and to what is expected of them.
Now that she's told us how she improves the student learning experience, let's hear what advice she has for others that want to follow in her footsteps and become a guidance counselor.
What advice would I like to give to others that might want to be a school counselor like me, or just a school counselor in general? Go for it, because helping others helps you. If you enjoy helping others, then this is the greatest path to take. Because even though education gets a bad rap, school counselors are educators, but we're also helpers. And if you have a helping heart, then this is the profession for you.
I'm so glad that Ms. Packwood took the time to sit down with us and talk about her experiences as a counselor and how she works to help others.
Protecting the students' security and safety is a very important job of being a counselor. Making sure students are comfortable and have a feeling of trust in her is a difficult task already. Keeping students at ease and listening is a staple to the fundamentals of her role in the school. Finally, we take a look at North Stafford's own Orange Fever, an essential in North school spirit and pride. With that, Ms. Pugh will explain topics such as the different events that go along with planning Orange Fever, the other color schemes for said events, and the outside of school programs participating.
On this part of 20 Minutes, we'll be talking about Orange Fever. It is the main pride of North Stafford Wolverines, but we will be also interviewing the faculty Orange Fever leader, Ms. Pugh. The topics we'll be discussing includes the school spirit, the up-and-coming events, how Orange Fever supports the team, and the type of steps to plan events.
Okay, so to plan an event like this, it sort of depends on the type of event. If we're doing something like a theme night, that normally involves us as sponsors, which is myself, Miss Megan, and Miss Millsap, talking to our section leaders, getting some ideas for themes. Normally, our section leaders will also reach out to team captains, team coaches, team players to kind of get an idea of themes that they want. And then once we've got our themes established, we make flyers, we post them on social media, we send out emails, we do announcements, and that's typically the process that goes into all of our events. For bigger events like tailgates, there's just more people and more steps involved. So we need to make sure we have a speaker for the music. So we reach out to Mr. Short because we get to borrow the choir speaker. We have people grilling. So Miss Lisa on the Renaissance team provides food for us. Normally our admin team members will come help us grill. We're talking to the football team to make sure we've got our theme set up. We talk to Mr. Coleman to make sure we've got our lawn games ready to go. So it sort of depends on the event, but it involves a lot of people kind of just checking off boxes, making sure everything is where it's supposed to be, and then making sure everybody knows about it. So lots of promo too. Yeah.
Talking about events, North Stafford has a student favorite event, which is homecoming. But to make students more excited, Orange Fever plans single-day events such as Fashion Disaster, Twin Day, Runway Ready, and Showing Your Class Color.
A lot of that revolves on our student section leaders and our Orange Fever team. They do a really, really good job of just kind of being self-motivated because they enjoy participating in those activities. So a lot of times our students will encourage their peers to dress up for spirit days, to come to theme nights, to come to tailgates. We also like to do things to help promote the events that hopefully get people more excited about them, like discounted tickets. Sometimes we pass out free swag at events related to the theme. But a lot of it is just our students are awesome and they do a really great job of hyping up the rest of the student body. And so it's way more exciting to hear a fellow student encourage you to come to a game than it is like one of your old teachers being like, hey guys, join us at the game. So it's a mix of both us offering some free stuff and our students just being great and super spirited.
With the help of volunteers, Orange Fever can always be successful with the events and stuff that always happens in the background.
So we're still working on planning the final pieces of our Halloween event. We are going to run it like a typical tailgate, but because that is Halloween night and senior night and the Battle of the Bell against Stafford, we're trying to make it special by doing some more like fall festival style games. So we'll probably have things like bobbing for apples or things that you would see at like a fall carnival to make it a little more fun, plus a lot of candy. And then of course our theme is you can either wear your costumes or it can be a blackout, which is our theme for the football team for that day. Right now, I would, depending on the day, rate the school spirit at like a 6, sometimes a 7. It really depends on the event. People get excited about different things. I think we're doing a really good job so far. We just had a really awesome event at the away game at Colonial Forge where we had a really big student section. They cheered the whole game. We could hear them from the home side over the home crowd. So that was like a 9. So I think it just depends on the day, but there's always room to grow.
Thanks to Orange Fever, North Stafford's pride is always at its best.
Such events and great experiences wouldn't be possible without people like Miss Pugh. North wouldn't be the same without pride in our school, and Orange Fever is just one of the many ways we do so. With that being said, go North Nation! Thank you for watching this episode of North Stafford's 20 Minutes.